What's up everyone, Dylan here. Today I want to talk about the death of AAA gaming. AAA gaming is the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the golden gods, if you will, of gaming. The big titles, the Halos, the Call of Duties, the Destinies, the Blizzard titles. And today I want to dig deep on why these titles are struggling, they're starting to die off, and why AAA games always have a number at the end of them. Now, it wouldn't be fair to say that every AAA game is a sequel, but I would say about 85 to 90% of all AAA games currently are in the sequel phase. And today we're not really going to look at the Nintendo list, mainly because most of Nintendo's games are sequels or rehashes of a rehash of a rehash that came out on the original NES. So they're going to be in their own special category of where I guess it's okay for them to just continue to make sequel after sequel. But when it comes to the rest of the gaming industry, I think it's fair to say that there's an epidemic on our hands. And I'm not too sure when it started. I want to say sometime around 2015. AAA games are being sold less and less. We've had massive industry flops like Dishonored 2 or Prey, where they just didn't meet anywhere near their sales expectations or their predecessors' sales. I mean, Dishonored 1 was a phenomenon, and I believe Dishonored 2 won Game of the Year, even though it sold pretty much horribly. And maybe horribly isn't a great term for it, but I think the term for the gaming industry right now for AAA game sales is lukewarm. Every game that I've seen has had a lukewarm response so far this year. And I think that's pretty fair to say. I think Horizon Zero Dawn did pretty well. I think Crash Bandicoot did pretty well, even though it's only a remaster and not a new title. And I think that's a huge problem with the gaming industry right now, is we're not making new titles, we're not making fresh ideas. The freshest idea this year was probably Horizon Zero Dawn, and it sold pretty well. I guess For Honor would be considered a pretty fresh idea, but it also had a lukewarm response due to server issues and all sorts of poor PC play. And I think this is a good point in time for us to really take a long, hard look at the indie industry. Yeah, the indie industry is flooded with garbage due to Steam Greenlight and pretty much the ability to publish anything that you want. But on the other side of that coin, there are some absolute gems hiding in the indie industry. Games like Hollow Knight, a Metroidvania that came out earlier this year, or Firewatch, a game that saw some cult success last year on the PS4 and PC, or titles like Stardew Valley or PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Now, there are a couple different reasons why these indie games do so well. And I think the first point that I want to make is indie games don't have a lot riding on their release, especially if they're in early access like pubs. But AAA titles have a lot riding on them when they first come out. It's the first test, it's the main stake in what their game is. Good examples of this is Hello Games' No Man's Sky. They basically used false marketing and outright lied to their customer base about what their game was, and when it came out, people were extremely disappointed and the game was all but forgotten almost immediately. But dishonesty is not the only thing that can condemn a game. Poor optimization and server issues are usually two of the main issues why a PC community will shy away from a game. But these are the issues that indie titles and early access titles don't have to worry about. They can have a poorly optimized title and people aren't going to complain because it's in early access. They understand. AAA games are expected to be optimized. They're expected to have online servers up and running on the day of release. I myself cannot remember the last time a AAA title didn't have server issues on the day of release. Black Ops 3 is a great example. Wanted to get online with the homies, play some zombies, we couldn't. Servers were down, we were stuck to solo matches. I just spent $100 on a game and a season pass so my squad could play some zombies online. You're out, it's out of the question, you can't do it. But if I go over to Steam and buy Battlegrounds and there's server issues or the game's buggy or there's issues with jumping, I mean, have you seen the animation of that game? It's god-awful. It looks like a game from 5 years ago. But people don't care. It's early access, they paid half the price, and they get to watch the game grow as it gets developed. And I don't think early access is the answer to the AAA plague that is gaming right now. But I think the AAA studios really need to look at what early access and indie titles are doing right and adapt that over to what they're doing wrong. Which leads me into my second point, and it's very similar to what's going on in the cinema or the movie industry right now. The big companies are afraid to make mistakes. They don't want to leap out and spend money on a project that possibly will not make its money back or won't make massive profits. Big companies like Activision and EA are okay with greenlighting Call of Duty 87, but God forbid we get a fresh title out there that may or may not press the bounds of what's AAA. And what's sad is the definition of AAA has changed so much that I don't even know if Activision and EA know what it means anymore. They put out a game, you get a campaign, you get an online multiplayer, you get a season pass, you get pre-order bonuses, and you stuff that son of a bitch full of microtransactions because that's what makes the money, and that is what they think a AAA title is. Not games like The Witcher 3, not games with a $20 season pass, games with a $50 season pass. And the difference is it's not 2009 anymore. Call of Duty isn't shredding sales like it was with Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1. These games with $50 and $60 season passes aren't flying off the shelves like Halo 3 was. And I think the gamers are catching on. They realize back in 2009 I could go get Halo 3, a full game, $60 value, a full game, no microtransactions, no in-game ads, and I could have a hell of a time with it. Now I can't do that anymore. And if the game doesn't have microtransactions throughout it, it's got ridiculous product placement like Final Fantasy 15 with the huge cup of noodle signs everywhere. They weren't even modest with it. They just shoved those ads down your throat the entire game. The reason why these games aren't flying off the shelves anymore is the average gamer knows I could go to Steam, go buy Battlegrounds, go play a great game for $30, and I'm guaranteed to have a good time. Or I could go to the Blizzard client, buy Overwatch for $40 and have a blast. And when I'm waiting in a skirmish or at a loading screen, there isn't a progressive ad at the bottom of my screen like there is in 2K17 or the Madden ads. Every sports game, do they just have ads now? Is that what's taking place of microtransactions? Or do you have both? You have microtransactions and you have ads. I think the big game companies are confused. They see the success of mobile gaming like Mario Run or Clash of Clans. There's more money spent in Clash of Clans than there is on AAA games. When I was reading these statistics, it's ridiculous how much money people spend on mobile gaming. But AAA gaming is not the same industry. It'd be like if I was sitting in the cinema watching a movie and halfway through the movie a Progressive ad played, or a Cricket ad played, or a T-Mobile ad played. No one wants to watch an ad in the middle of a movie, so why do I need ads in the middle of my game? If the big gaming companies want to stop having lukewarm releases, they need to get it together. They need to realize that their industry is not revolving around ads and microtransactions and product placement. Their industry revolves around good gameplay, clever storytelling, good mechanics. And once this is realized, I may come back to AAA gaming. I think I'm going to take a hiatus from it. I look at my Steam library and I haven't really bought a AAA game since The Witcher 3. Most of my time is spent in indie games or Metroidvanias. And it's not to say I haven't played recent AAA titles, but I don't know if they're worth my $60 like they used to be. I'll wait for For Honor to be on sale for $20. I'll wait for Dishonored 2 to be on sale for $20. I think that's the difference, is people used to go out and be at a midnight release and spend the $60, $65 after tax or the $100 for a prestige edition for a brand new game. And I think gamers are more reluctant to do that now. I'd rather wait and see what people have to say about the game. I think that's why when you go into GameStop now, all they do is shove pre-orders down your throat, because no one's pre-ordering games anymore. That's just not the industry. I'd rather see No Man's Sky implode than be that idiot that bought it for $65 and have to beg PSN to return it. There'll always be those guys at the front of the hype train, hyping whatever title up next is coming. But I think my time at the front of the hype train is over, and yours should be too. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any opinions, please leave them down in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys think could make AAA gaming better. What could change this industry? Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And as always, have a good rest of your day.